The WonderSwan is a handheld released exclusively in Japan in 1999 by Bandai. It was designed by the father of the Gameboy, Gunpei Yokoi. Sadly, he was killed in a tragic car accident in 1997 before seeing the system released to market. During its lifespan from 1999 to just 2003, the WonderSwan did see a couple model updates in this time, such as the WonderSwan Color, adding color to the screen, and the WonderSwan Crystal, adding an improved screen overall. Since this never came out in any other regions, you might be wondering, what's the WonderSwan all about? Well, let's take a look, should we?
WonderSwan 料理人の魂が入るとき、料理は別の生き物となる。勝負。料理で生まれたモンスター、フードンバトルだ。格闘料理伝説、ビストロレシピ。
いらっしゃいませ。
どこ行く？
テラーズへようこそ。
この音怖い。テラーズ。
WonderSwan.
The WonderSwan is a 16-bit handheld featuring a black and white screen, and it was released in 9 colors initially. As you can see, the size is fairly compact, and if you compare it to its competitors of that generation, the Game Boy Advance and Neo Geo Pocket Color, it's a little bit smaller than both, but comparable in size. Now, what does make the WonderSwan a little bit interesting is its button layout. You'll see in the center here there's a sound button. You can press that 3 times for 3 variable levels of sound, as well as a start button, an A and B, a D-pad, and then an additional D-pad allowing you to turn the screen and system vertically, similar to the Lynx. And you've got a single speaker up on the top, no headset audio out on this thing standard. Now, flipping it over, you will find a dial to adjust the contrast and the battery pack. One thing of note is that all WonderSwan models ran off of just a single AA battery. Now you slide the compartment out like this to get the battery out, and what's incredible is that this initial model of the WonderSwan on just a single AA battery could run for up to 40 hours. Now, taking a look at some of the games, I have a single game for my system, Buffer's Evolution. There was not a very large library for the system. It did receive fairly good support initially, especially from Square, which ported some Final Fantasy games over to the system, helping it gain some popularity in Japan. Overall, the WonderSwan models sold about 3.5 million units between this version, the Color, and the Crystal. Now, looking at the game here, you can see that it's a lot thinner and wider than most cartridges of the era. Again, it reminds me of the Lynx cartridges where the pins are exposed. Comparing it to the Game Boy Advance here, you can see that it is a lot wider than a standard Game Boy Advance cartridge. And it just slides snugly into the back. One thing I do like about this design is that you can clearly see the game. And really, marketing-wise, this is a great idea because everyone can see what game you're playing. Now, turning the system on, there is a power switch here on the left side of the console. You can hear the audio isn't bad. I don't know if it's just this game or how the others sound in general. I have nothing to compare it to. It isn't the most amazing sound. It's a little bit tinny, but overall, considering the minimal design of this system, given the time frame it came out, it's not bad. And the screen looks crisp, just black and white again. Keep in mind that its competitors at the time all had color screens, so this initial model was a little behind the curve when it came out, but price-wise, it was well ahead of its competitors. Let's take a look at the gameplay here of Buffer's Evolution. It's sort of a maze-running game. Playing the WonderSwan is actually really comfortable. The controls feel very nice and responsive. The screen looks great, as well as the visuals, at least on this game. But my one complaint is that it is prone to ghosting. When you're playing a game like this, it will blur as you're moving across the screen. So there you have it. There's a quick look at the WonderSwan, a little-known system that never left Japan. Should you buy one? Well, that depends. There aren't a lot of English-friendly games in the system, and the library is generally pretty small. If you are a fan of video gaming, and more particularly video gaming history in general, though, I think this is a neat piece to add to your collection, and this original model of the WonderSwan won't set you back very much. You can probably pick up the system unboxed with a game for around $40 to $50. Maybe you'll even find a better deal. So if it's something that interests you, go ahead and check it out. As always, thanks for watching.